Hey everyone, Worm Empire back at you. I finally set myself up in my basement. I'm finally standing up. Today's video is going to just be me looking through all my bins. This is my big one here. Little crunchy on the outside, seems to be pretty good. Lots of castings. I've been adding coffee to this quite a lot. But I haven't tossed this bin around in a long time. Like, it is literally just like in the shape of the bin. So I don't toss my bins around, like flip over the materials in this way nearly as much as I used to. I don't feel like I need to do that as much anymore. I have a little bit better of an idea what I'm looking for, and I like trying to disturb them less and less, because I'm not learning as much and I'm more just trying to let these guys be happy. But I think this has been ready for a bit of a toss for a while. If somebody disagrees with that, I'd be interested to know if at all you toss your bins, because I would like to just have more information about that, but I don't think it hurts every so often. I probably haven't tossed this around in maybe over a month. So the dampness seems okay. I'm actually pretty happy about this, but I'm just trying to get some of the outside cardboard, a little bit more on the inside. This is actually coming along a lot faster than I expected. This started off with a few worms and cocoons that I had started months and months ago, and even though the population isn't super high in here, well, you can see that there's castings, so that's all I'm looking for. I'm the castings guy. So this one here is the one I've been adding my overs to. So this is one of my newer ones. Seems a little dry, but what I'm curious about is all the overs that I've been putting through the middle here to see what those look like. Still pretty damp. I don't want to toss this around too much. But yeah, all our little guys in there seem to be okay. It's relatively underpopulated. There's a very sparse spread, very sparse concentration of these little guys in here, so I'm not going to mess around with this too much. All I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a feed. They're due for a proper feed. Frozen potatoes. The frozen food will add moisture to the bin, which is sort of necessary at this point. I might actually spread it over to where it will benefit wetting some of this bedding on that side. Allow these worms to kind of spread around the bin away from the concentration that they are in the middle. This is my molasses water. I'll wet the bedding a little bit. Typically I let the water pool at the bottom, because obviously that's where it ends up, and I'll just toss it around in a matter that just slightly coats everything. But this bin has been due for a big feed for a while. They've been feeding on whatever has been left over from the overs. So you want to see how I started this bin, there's a whole Worm Empire playlist that you can check out. This is the newest bin, and the last one was my oldest bin now. Here's another one along the way. I think this is where the overs from one of my earlier, the first bin that oh yeah, some in there. The overs from my first bin went into here, I believe, a little bit too. As you can hear, this is pretty dry, so just like before, I'm gonna wet it down. And this is definitely gonna need a feed as well, so this one's gonna get some old beans. I feel good about this. My whole system, when I was doing that expanded area worm system, just took so much of my focus that I didn't take care of these other bins the way I should. I'm still literally making up this process as I go. So now at least I have a date for when I'm doing all this. There's a long runway of development for some of these last couple bins that I've shown, so that's nice. I just get to come down here every week, give them that many beans, but once a week is my goal, and I'd rather just give them more than a higher frequency. This one's a little further along. See all the light pillowy castings at the top here? That's what I like to see. They're not just, this one I'm gonna toss around. Yeah. This one seems pretty good. Looking for a feed. I don't even know when the last time I fed them was, but I like breaking up the bedding clumps that I find and just spread it around. Even though I find that it's incredible, these guys love making little homes. I'll find all sorts of worms living all through just little clumps of bedding like that. I've seen that lots and lots of babies. It's like they make them into their home or something like that. I know it's probably not exactly what it is, but I don't know. It sort of appears that way to me. Based off of the timeline that I have decided it's going to take for the way that I harvest my castings, one more feed in this, and then I'm going to do expanded area worm system into this, because they will also break this down while I'm waiting for this to dry out. So my goal in this cycle is to start those expanded area bins a little bit earlier, because honestly there's not a whole lot of big pieces left, so why wait for these little bits to break down? I may as well just sift them out, sift everything I need out of here, and just start from scratch, and let all the worms in here do work on an entire bin instead of just picking at little bits left over. I'm curious if anyone thinks that's a good or bad idea, or if it even matters, but that's what my plan is anyways. Worms love these beans, I've found. By day 3 or 4, it'll take 1 day to thaw that bean pack, and in the next 2 days, my goodness, they go absolutely crazy. So that's always fun to watch. Here's the next bin. Seems a little dry, but once again, there we go, at the bottom. Everyone's happy. I think we're just getting a little hungry. So that's what we're gonna do. It's a good thing that their little castings in their inoculated area is still nice and moist, because I lost almost all the moisture in the rest of the bedding. So I gotta do something about that. But this is sort of why I wanted to walk through this. It's like you can analyze all these different bins in short order. It's so nice now. I'm not like tripping over myself upstairs in my old setup. This is a lot handier. I can actually get through all of the bins in a reasonable time frame. So I'll wet this bedding down. Some molasses water. This was really dry, so I'm going to give it quite a bit. I'm trying to manage the amount of water that I'm giving my beds. It was pretty clear I was giving them too much. Too much water, too much moisture. But with that being said, I had a much higher priority to breed these my bins and have them be wet, so that it would encourage more worm breeding, because I've heard bins that are a little wetter breed a little better. I'm less worried about them breeding. There's way more worms population in each one of these bins than there was before in my other bins. So I'm gonna basically treat them like they're steady state. They're still very underpopulated, but not to a point that I'm worried about it. I'm just going to let them fill these bins up naturally over the course of time that it takes for them to break this down. That's just what my strategy is right now. So this was a leaf bedding. You can still see some of the leaves left over. They really got into these leaves. See all the little sticks and such left over from that one. I think they were in a much more decayed state. Well, this is nice and damp here. Holy cow, I didn't realize how close this might be to this might be close to harvest. This might be a final week or two. There's an old coffee that didn't really make the, got a little moldy. Old coffee filter with some coffee in it. Spread that around, but I want them to have one more good feed. Now my goal is, even though some of these bins might be ready, is to start staggering them and labeling these properly, because I've got sort of enough bins for that. With 6 bins, I could probably do a harvest every 2 or 3 weeks, but I have to stagger them in a way that they're actually ready. Each one is ready within the, and I can get to all of them within a rotation of actually, like from the first one. By the time I do it again, I want to be able to do all of these. So I got to break the time that I do that evenly. So if I think it'll take maybe 3 or 4 months to break down a bin, and if I've got six bins here, then every maybe 3 weeks or so, I have to do a harvest and try and keep that cycle going, because having them all ready at the same time, I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter, but I think just for the sake of understanding, there's some more potatoes, for the sake of understanding kind of and getting down a consistency for consistently harvesting a certain amount, I think that's the way to go. So I do end up just harvesting them all at the same time. It's not the end of the world. I think it just makes for better content. I can actually make a video and show you how things are coming along, but I haven't, this is the first video I've had where I've shown everybody all of my bins all at the same time, basically, as a walkthrough. So this is sort of where they're at. There's a couple that are ready. There's a couple that are just getting started. So even though it might take a little while for me to get this proper cycle started, it might even work out that I do 2 at once and then 2 in 6 weeks and something along that line. But then I can slowly start to stretch that out over longer periods of time and just work that way, because I also plan on splitting these bins and creating more up. I've got more empty bins just waiting for these to be done. So once I harvest this, I'll probably take half the worms, put them in a new bed, and then I'll just keep roughly half of them and just let them grow. I'm not gonna put too much effort into doing anything else. It's working fine this way, especially at the rate that they are that they're reproducing at. If it went any faster, I wouldn't even be able to handle it, to be perfectly honest. Half the worms from here can breed up one bin, half the bins from another one can breed up another bin, and I can do that with all of them. And I could easily double, because I started literally with, as we all know, 150 worms, and now I've got 6 bins. They're not full yet. They will be one day. So that's my update. That's how we're doing. Thanks for following along. Thanks for everyone who supports me and likes hanging out and seeing how things are doing and encouraging me. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.